how consistent are your weeks? Does it feel like you've got some predictability from week to week and a bit of natural momentum that goes on? Or does every single week feel completely different, potentially feel a bit out of control, maybe a little bit overwhelming, so that you never quite seem to get into a nice groove? One of the ways that I would really recommend to help you start to build some consistency and some natural rhythm into your weeks is to look at building for yourself the map of your ideal week. Some people might call this a default diary, but essentially it's not a million miles away from your old school timetable, but you have things like marketing and client work rather than maths and English. So a few of the things to think about here. One of the primary reasons why this can help you is because when you run your own business, it can be incredibly easy to drift into the start of your working day and drift out of the end of your working day, or potentially to just allow the working day to drift on right through your evening. So if you actually map out your ideal week, then what that also means is you're scheduling in your ideal start time and your ideal end time each day, so that you just start to build in some consistency and some parameters. And by actually having a clear end time each day, that allows you to switch off, to recharge, to refresh, and actually to help you boost your productivity. So by not drifting work through the evenings, you'd be surprised at how much more focused and productive you can be throughout the working day. So that's one of the key benefits to this. You can also, of course, schedule in key things that you constantly wish you could do in the evenings, like exercise or time with friends or family, or even going to the supermarket. But all these things that you seem to be either squeezing in or never quite squeezing in, you can schedule them in. Now, I'm not suggesting for a minute that if you map out this schedule of your ideal week, that every single week will just go like that. Because let's be honest, life and business just doesn't work like that. But by mapping out this ideal week, what you do is you lay the ground rules and you make it more likely that you will stick to something like that ideal week. So it may not be perfect, but it will still be an awful lot closer than it was if you didn't have this guide to keep you somewhere on track. Now, a couple of crucial things to think about as well are, if you were to think about the things that you constantly would like to do in your business, whether that's more marketing or more time thinking about strategy, time creating processes, whatever that is, if you've actually got that time structured somewhere into your week, then that's far more likely to happen. So instead of your marketing being squeezed in the few spare minutes you have here and there around all your client work, by putting it into a set time, a set day or set time through your diary through the week, you make it far more likely that you actually will dedicate time to those things. Might be stuff like sending your invoices consistently, or just managing your finances in general. So all those things where you're constantly last minute, they might just need 30 minutes once a week or an hour once a fortnight or something like that. But all of those things that you never quite get around to, or that just seem to be the afterthought, if you can start to build those into your diary, there's a much bigger chance of them getting done. And you can also look at things like grouping tasks, look at things like your movements and your overall schedule. So if you go out to see clients, maybe you go to, I don't know, let's say you've got clients in Liverpool and you've got clients in Manchester. Well, you can start to say, okay, so Tuesday is my Manchester day and Thursday is my Liverpool day. Whereas what happens an awful lot of the time is you end up in Manchester and Liverpool on Tuesday and on Thursday. So you end up being massively inefficient. Now, obviously, it takes some willpower to then start to maneuver your customers to want to meet you on the right days. So it's very easy to kind of slip back and still let customers dictate your diary to you. But as with everything to do with this principle of the ideal week, The aim is that you start to lay out these parameters, and what you'll see is over time you will get closer and closer to sticking to them. So your appointments might still be haphazard to start with, but over the course of a few weeks or even a few months, you would start to see them streamline naturally. As you get more focused on the things you want to do on set days, you will just find that you naturally draw your customers into actually being happy to meet those same parameters as you do. And the last thing to think about here is, if you think about the classic Stephen Covey principle of what's important and what's urgent, the strategy for your business, the things that are going to make the big difference to the future of your business, will never be urgent. And what that means is they are so often the things that get pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So by using this principle of the ideal week, you can actually start to schedule in some time to focus on those things that are not urgent, but actually they're super important and they're going to make a real fundamental difference to the growth of your business. So that's my suggestion to you this week, is really look at how to broadly structure your week. You don't have to plan every minute of every day because nobody can stick to that. So don't try to be overly rigid or overly detailed, but just very broad days and tasks and times and chunks of work will help you to streamline, to focus, to get more done, and to find that you're actually dedicating your time to the things that you truly want to work on. So I hope that's been useful for you, and given you some ideas on how to structure your weeks a little more consistently. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments, and of course please like or subscribe to the video channel, and please feel free to share this with anybody else you think could benefit.